HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business. Whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing, guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Today's podcast is sponsored by audible.com, and you can go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, sign up for a free trial of audible.com, and then go exploring. Check out all of the audio content that is there. I think you're going to be surprised at how much there is to listen to. The Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast continues to enjoy inclusion on lists of the best podcasts to listen to for entrepreneurship, small business, sales, marketing, leadership, communication, social media, you name it, a whole bunch of topics. And that's really because of the guests. These are people who have expertise in particular areas of business, and they join me for a conversation where they share their expertise with all of you. Today is no exception. My guest today is Kristin Kurth. Kristin has an accomplished career in both upstream and downstream marketing. She's worked across a wide range of industries, including consumer and luxury goods, financial services, automotive, healthcare, biotech, and more. She's the co-founder of EquiBrand Consulting and is also co-author of the book, Upstream Marketing. Thanks so much for joining me today, Kristin.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks.
I'm happy to have you here. We're going to be talking about upstream marketing. And I would actually like to start with asking you to explain the difference between upstream versus downstream marketing frameworks, please.
Sure. So in our book, we talk about, we use a fishing analogy, which is a great way to think about this. I think the short answer is that upstream marketing is everything that happens before the hook is in the water. So when you think about fishing, and I'm not an accomplished fisher person, so I do know, though, when you're thinking about fishing, you're thinking about the kind of fish that you want to catch, what method you're going to use, whether it's, fly fishing or bait casting, what tools do you need, the rod, the reel, and then which lake, river, pond, and at what time. So it's everything that happens before, and that would all be upstream. And then downstream is what occurs, when you really bait and cast the line. When you really, I say it's everything that happens before, upstream is everything that happens before you push, send, or post, on social media. And downstream is what happens as a result of all of that. People get it mixed up, in terms of when you ask them what is marketing in general. So this kind of clarifies, we're really talking about the upstream piece of this. This is where our experience has been. I've been in both, having been in the advertising industry, but upstream is where our company focuses and what we've written the book about.
Okay. And so just for the listeners, will you explain why companies need an upstream marketing framework?
Absolutely. And it's funny, this is in our consulting work over the past 20 years, we see companies, some of the largest, Fortune 100s, down to startups that have a difference in terms of how they approach strategy. And what you find sometimes is one person's strategy is another's tactic. So you'll say, to a group of very experienced people sitting around a table, what is marketing? And a lot of people come up with, well, it's, it's the brand, it's what the brand stands for. It's, what comes to mind when you say the name or they see the logo, et cetera, et cetera. And, marketing in its simplest form is about meeting customer needs profitably. So whether you're a startup and have 5 customers to whether you're a multi-billion-dollar, multinational, strategy is about understanding customer needs and then building your unique value proposition so that it aligns with the needs of the customers. So what are the benefits that you as a business are going to uniquely deliver? What are you going to stand for in the minds of your customers is positioning.
Okay, so don't most companies already have this in place, or do you think it's something that like small businesses or even medium-sized businesses are missing?
I think it's actually very much what small and medium-sized businesses are missing. Mostly, I think a lot of big, disciplined companies with a lot of resources often have, marketing research as part of their ongoing business, something that they do naturally. And I think smaller organizations and entrepreneurial organizations have, a unique understanding of their customers because they're building something, for someone. And even though a large organization is doing the same, they go about it differently. When I do work with small companies, I find that they internalize these things like, well, the positioning, what we want to stand for. Well, here's our product. Here are the attributes of that product. And here are the benefits that we offer. They're more internalized by the a smaller organization. What ends up happening is, they're oftentimes, even in large organizations, not written down, not really, thought through and built through combining the principles of insight, types of researches, research both quant and qual, and putting it together strategically and having it live within the minds of the people who are delivering the business proposition day in and day out.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I can see that when you say it. Okay. In the book, you talk about 3 key principles: insight, identity, and innovation. Is there one that is more important than the others, or one that should be implemented first?
You know, and I will say that it's really not, there's not one that's more important than the others. In fact, you know, we say the combined principles of insight, which is gaining, you know, internal clarity and deeper customer understanding, identity, which is building strong value propositions and brands, and then innovation being, you know, ensuring that a continual stream of solutions, you know, customers' needs, throws together, magnify the effect and the growth of the business. And we've seen this and have many examples of, you know, really leading upstream marketers like Google and Amazon and Apple and Southwest Air in our book, Disney, you know, they all combine these principles. And in some organizations, that's another thing that's missing. You know, they use insight as well. We do a ton of research. We talk to our customers all the time. Well, how are you translating that insight into a winning value proposition? You know, those are some of the questions we might ask. And then, well, what's going on in innovation? Well, we're gonna launch in a new market next week. We're expanding our playing field. That's not enough. You know, innovation strategy requires some incremental ideas through, you know, transformative ideas. What's going to change our customers' lives in a profound way?
Okay. I appreciate that. That makes a lot of sense to me. I had a feeling that they all three, you know, they are key principles. They all three play pretty well together, but you never know if there's a, right? If there's a hierarchy or something.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised. I mean, really successful companies oftentimes are really good at, you know, insight and identity, you know, building their brand. They're really in tune, you know, with what drives their customers. But the unfortunate part is competitors are developing new products faster, better. You know, to any brand, we always say any company with a technology advantage, you know what, you can be out spec next week. And a lot of our clients have seen that. And it's, you know, we've seen a lot of companies that either flourish or, you know, flounder. And it's because they just don't have the stream of ideas that will, you know, take them to the next level, you know, through products and services. Even huge companies have that issue.
It feels like it needs to be an ongoing practice. Is that right?
It truly is. It's like, and the word practice is exactly the best way to describe it. You know, upstream marketing is a practice that can be employed in organizations over time. It's not a chore that needs to happen over, you know, a discrete period of time. Now, we could get at all the necessary components of it, you know, in a matter of 3 months, you know, in working with the company. But it's something that needs to be looked at, you know, continually, and really refined as you go along. Everything about strategy work in our minds, it's about creating it and then testing it and learning from it. It's just like, you know, lean product development. Same thing, same idea, you know, applies here in strategy. We're continually iterating.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sponsor break and then I want to continue the conversation. So hang tight. The Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast is happy to be sponsored by audible.com. And you probably know that audible.com has thousands of audiobook titles to choose from. If you didn't already know that, I'm here to tell you that is true, in all different genres. You may not know about all the other content. However, there are podcasts and guided meditations, Audible originals, I mean, so much more, and they're adding more every day. So check it out for yourself. Go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, sign up for a free trial, and go exploring. If you're like me, there's a couple things you're going to notice. You're going to notice that one of the cool things is that you can get that variety of content all in one place. So you don't have to go in and out of platforms to get it. And you can listen to it across devices, you know, anywhere you are, no matter what you're doing. So just amazingly valuable to anything that you're interested in listening to, frankly. So like I said, sign up for the trial, check it out, enjoy, go exploring. and enjoy. Today, we're speaking with Kristin Kurth about upstream marketing. So, Kristin, these principles work for small businesses as well as bigger enterprise companies, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And let's talk about the pandemic.
Sure.
Okay. So, because it's a thing. Has there been an impact to upstream marketing because of the pandemic, do you think?
Yes, definitely. When we started writing this book over 5 years ago, we were writing it to help small businesses, to help students of marketing, to really take the high level of consulting and the frameworks that we bring to our larger clients, because we think they're so applicable to smaller organizations. I personally like to do a lot of work with nonprofits, and they don't have budgets for big consulting projects. So we wrote the book to kind of narrow in on some of the issues of the smaller business.
Mm.
And during the pandemic, interestingly, across the board, the world paused, and the businesses, both big and small, had an opportunity to kind of look at what they were doing strategically. I kind of liken it to, a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people out there, took a moment to clean their closets at home or clear out the garage. Now, I'm not saying I did that, but it was a chance for perhaps a small business to say, you know what, let's really look at what our strategy is here. A lot of spending downstream went on hold. So it was a great opportunity for businesses to take a look at, the engine that drives their business, their strategy. And so the pandemic, there were so many businesses that have had to pivot to, develop entirely new business models. And in order to do that and do it quickly, they really needed this discipline of upstream marketing to lay the foundation for what they're going to look like in the next, 2 to 5 years.
Okay. It has been an interesting time. I've noticed that as well, that it's given a lot of companies an opportunity to just really evaluate and assess and, change practices or even implement things that they had wanted to implement for so long, but just never got to because the everyday of business was happening.
Absolutely, especially in entrepreneurial and small organizations. This is the stuff that a lot of, and it's happening also in, huge businesses when we say, okay, so let's take a look at what research you have. And well, we have it somewhere. We're not exactly sure where it is, but we know we have that. And some of it resides, really in the, minds of the people who are working on the business day to day.
Yeah.
But, it's not something that's always front and center. And it's something that, needs to be a part of any business that's trying to drive growth. It's often the missing piece. So yeah, I think, like you said, it's been a good time for companies to really take a look at this, really make sure that they have, everything in order, because why would you go downstream and start spending, precious resources in social or digital marketing or pay, whatever it might be, if you don't really know, what the purpose of that is.
Right.
That's basically, if you get your upstream strategy right, everything you do downstream is so much easier and so much more efficient. You're not going to be wasting money because you're going to be able to answer the question, why are we doing this? What do we expect from this? How are we going to measure it? And that's really the beauty of this.
Yeah, I see that. All right. So if someone's listening and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I should, be doing this. Is there like a specific first step or couple of steps that they could implement, like starting tomorrow morning to get the ball rolling?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So, we have a little 7-step process, and, this can be done formally with lots of research. It can be done informally with the kind of keepers of the brand strategy. But in, the first step to doing all of this is really taking a look at where you are. We call it a 3 C's analysis. Let's look at our company. What are the assets? Everybody, knows SWOT analysis. And, it's kind of like taking, the temperature of the company today. What do we have? Where are we lacking? The second C is looking at your customer deeply. What is it that this is the first question, I think, and that is, if you can answer the question, what do you know about your most important customers that your competitors don't know? Therein lies some competitive advantage. The third C is looking at the competitive environment, really closely at what's going on around you. So you kind of set, you know what you know, the 3 C's, and then you start creating a customer framework. And in order to do that, that's where the role of research comes in. You can do it informally. When we talk about qualitative research, everybody thinks, focus groups are out, they're so lame and nobody wants to spend money on them. Certainly they are expensive to do a focus group, but a focus group can be done with, whatever it is, 5 people who are your customers sitting around a table and you're, having pizza and asking questions. It doesn't have to be super, super formal. We do ad hoc research all the time. It's really just trying to understand, what segments exist. How do our customers, cluster around certain attitudes? A lot of times, when you're talking about, well, our target is, the millennial or whatever that might be, targeting, the richest targeting exercise is looking at whether your customer's a millennial or, somebody who's in their, 70s. You have to understand what is it that makes them cluster around this attitude toward your category or your product. And that's where we like to see segmentations, across customer landscapes. You can always find out what the demographics are. You can find out who bought what. You can find out where they live and how they live. But if you can segment your marketplace based on attitudinal factors, you're going to have a much richer view, of your customer landscape than your competitors might have. So it's really, starting with the beginning, the 3 C's analysis, and then creating a customer framework. And then from there, it goes into, how do we decide where we're going to play, which markets, what customers, what products are we going to, align to serve the needs of who we think will be the most profitable people to serve. And that's kind of the first part of phase 1, I would say, is, determining in your overview, where you're going to play, who we're going to serve, how we're going to target, and what we're going to stand for.
Do you think that, excuse me, that when companies do this sort of research, do you find that sometimes they discover opportunities that they didn't realize existed?
Definitely. Therein is the magic, in our opinion. If you have a really good framework, this could be scribbled on a piece of paper across the top, the various segments in terms of, how they look at a category. An example would be some work that we did in nutritional supplements. So when you look at that category, you have different types of views around nutritional supplements. Some people are really, let's say, call them label readers. They check out everything that they're taking in. And across the top, you can see some are more medically driven. Some are more, I just want to live a healthier life. Some are, really passionate about natural, products or whatever it might be. And then, down the left-hand side, you really map out what are their attitudes, how do they feel about, the category. And, from there, really understanding what they're buying now, how they operate, where they buy, what are their demographics, et cetera. But definitely this start and this framework is, where the magic is, because you can go in there and say, we really haven't thought about the fact that there are all these people who are out there listening to Dr. Oz and they're really motivated by key thought leaders in the market. Maybe that leads to an idea where we create a new product for those people, that really is different from the one we might create for the people who are just natural. That might be a different look and feel. That might be a different product line. We might do something a little bit more mainstream for those who, get their information from different sources, aligning all those targets and then picking within there where we see opportunities is exactly the point of this, marketing.
Yeah. And I love this whole concept of really identifying what their attitude is toward the industry, or the product or the service or whatever it is, because I don't think people necessarily pay attention to that. And I can see, as you're talking about it, I can see how different that is from just, they're millennials who are, live in this sort of an environment and whatever, it's beyond the characteristics.
Definitely. And a lot of businesses miss that. You'll ask when the first thing somebody can answer is this, so who's your target? And when they define it in, demographic, age related, terms, oh my goodness, there's so much that they're missing. Because again, when you're out there, again, it's definitely easy to buy media. And I think a lot of people think about it as a media buy, but it's more important for how you look at your portfolio of products and services. Who are we serving? It doesn't matter if they're 18 or 80. Right. It matters that they view the category in this way. Another example is, and we've done a lot of work in automotive, and you can imagine there are people whose attitude toward buying a car is, I just need to get from point A to point B. Yeah. And you can probably imagine people in your life that are more like that. They're more worried about the functional attributes of a car. On the other hand, there are people who are like, oh, I just bought this fancy car because it's a statement of who I am and the fact that I'm successful and I've arrived, or whatever it is. It's a badge value. Yeah. Those are two very, very different attitudinal segments, and they can't be defined by age, necessarily income, necessarily, part of the country, or whatever the demographics might show.
Right. Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that is a great example. Wow. So Kristin, I really appreciate this information. It is a bit of a different way of looking at this thing, but it's so valuable, I think, for especially small business owners to understand the importance of, the upstream framework in their overall, marketing efforts. So can you tell them, how they can find the book, how they can find, and.
Oh, of course. So we, anybody out there can go to upstreammarketing.com, and you can download a free chapter, the first chapter of the book. It's available on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. There's a free offer going on right now through Goodreads, where you can try to ask for a free copy. And so there are lots of places, but you can download the Kindle version. We're working on an audio book right now. Nice. So, and you are welcome to text me or, email me. My email is at upstreammarketing.com. And I'm always happy to answer questions or, things that you're thinking about and, are trying to figure out how to get it done. The book has a ton of these frameworks. There are tips in every chapter. So there's a lot of instructive material, I think, that'll help you, start enacting this in your own organization.
That's great. That is great. I find it always helpful when people have something actionable that they can do with a book. So they can get from point A to at least point B. So thank you so much. And listeners, this is just a great area of information. You want to really learn about this, because this can be a game changer. It can make a big difference in how you're handling your marketing and how you're getting your message out there. I would also like to thank our sponsor, audible.com. You can go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, sign up for the free trial, and go exploring around all of the audio content that is there for you. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Somewhere out there, there's a man on a park bench eating his 500th PB&J. He has no idea Papa John's has new Papadillas that are way better than a boring sandwich. With Papa John's best meats, cheeses, and veggies hand-folded into a crispy flatbread crust. Someone better tell that man. Get a new Papadilla in 1 of 4 flavors for just $6. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's. Not valid with discounts, fees, and taxes. Extra prices may vary.
Hey guys, this is Gabby Douglas. If you have an active lifestyle like me, hydration is key. That's why I love the Hydration Watermelon Smoothie from Smoothie King. Blended with whole fruits, coconut water, and more electrolytes than some of the leading sports drinks. Hydration Watermelon is the cleaner way to hydrate, with no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. So you can recover and perform at your peak ability during the summer heat. Order online or through the app for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey friends, this is Jim Knight, former 21-year Hard Rock executive turned best-selling author and top 10 keynote speaker.
And I'm Brant Menswar, former frontman of Hollywood's most dangerous band turned top 10 motivational speaker and best-selling author.
We host the how-to podcast Thoughts That Rock, where we talk to rock stars, athletes, CEOs, astronauts, and even next-door neighbors who share their expertise and opinions. Together, we tackle the most interesting and challenging topics of today.
Whether you want to learn how to become more confident, how to deal with anxiety at work,
or how to write a hit song, or use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in life,
we've got hundreds of episodes to help amp up your life and move you forward.
Subscribe to Thoughts That Rock wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out evergreenpodcast.com for more information.